Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me on this Sunday. I am just going to check on my phone and make sure that y'all can see me okay. If you can see me okay, if you can hear me, let me know by posting in the chat. I would love to know. I am going to check on my phone as well just to make sure it looks like the screen is good. Let's see if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Because I'm not sure if you can. Anyway, so I hope you can hear me. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We are talking about, are you walking your dog wrong? So the way I decided we're going to do this today, I'm just going to go through the information, and all along the way, as you're joining me, I'd love for you to post why you clicked on this video. Let me know a little bit about you and your pets, and go ahead and post that in the chat. If you're watching this, a repeat of this, you can post in the comment section. So if you're watching live, it's the chat section. If you're watching a repeat, it is the comment section. Let me know a little bit about you and your pets. If you have any questions along the way, whether it has to do with our topic today or something else to do with your pets, go ahead and post in the chat and let me know. And when we're done, once I get through the information, I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have posted. I do want to just mention really quickly that I am not a veterinarian, and so if you have any medical concerns, definitely check with your veterinarian first. But we're going to be talking today about, are you walking your dog wrong? So what I want you to know is that for most dogs, walking every single day is incredibly important. And I say most dogs because there are always going to be exceptions to the rule. Some dogs may not be able to go for walks due to physical limitations or other extenuating circumstances. These dogs will still need plenty of enrichment, including, whatever they are able to do physically. But for the rest of the dogs out there, daily walks are necessary, not just for taking your dog out for a potty break, but also it provides both mental and physical stimulation for your dog, which they absolutely need every single day. So there's a lot of information out there to make sure your dog is behaving and your dog is walking properly on a leash and your dog is very polite, right? There's a lot of that, and people search for that a lot. But here's the truth. Us humans need a lot of training too. So here are some things that we do as humans while we're walking our dog that we should absolutely not be doing. And really quickly, I see a few people have just jumped on. Please, if you like this video, if you like the live, the content, the format, anything, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed, if you look down there at that subscribe button, if it's red, go ahead and click it and turn it gray, and then click the bell and select all notifications. I would very much appreciate that. So let's get into these things that us humans are doing while we're walking our dogs that are big, big no-nos. So very, very first thing is we need to be letting our dogs sniff. Now, I will say, I see it, I don't know if it's 50-50, 60-40. A lot of people do let their dogs sniff, but then there are some people who just are not letting their dogs sniff, and this is very frustrating because here's the thing. For us humans, we're very visual people, right? We experience the world through all of our senses, but our primary sense is what we see. For our dogs, they still have all the same senses we do and possibly more, but they primarily experience the world through what they smell. So when we don't let our dogs smell, it can be very frustrating. It can be very confusing for them, and it can even lead to what we think of as a depression in our dogs because they really need to smell, guys. So let's let our dogs sniff on walks. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here. I just see that you posted that you are here. So let me welcome you. Welcome, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here. So Jennifer is here with us this morning, and you actually got all of this content on Patreon. Excuse me. Jennifer is one of my Patreon supporters, and I was going to bring up Patreon a little later on, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because she just reminded me. So my Patreon supporters get new and exclusive content over on Patreon. They also get all of the content from our YouTube videos, but one very big difference. So while you get all of the content from these YouTube videos on Patreon, you get it a little bit earlier, but you also get bonus information that doesn't go into the YouTube videos. So like, for instance, this morning, Jennifer and all of the other Patreon followers got an email with all of the information being discussed in today's live and Patreon bonus content that you are only going to get if you're on Patreon. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later because, yeah, I don't want to give too much away. But I definitely want to see you guys following me over on Patreon. Like that is where I'm putting the majority of my focus lately. I'm still coming to you here on YouTube, obviously, but Patreon has just, I did a lot of research at the end of last year and beginning of this year because other platforms are not letting you see the content that you sign up for. And I really want, if you sign up to get content from me, I want you to get it, right? And the only way you're going to be able to become a better pet parent, the only way you're going to be able to take the knowledge and information and actually implement it with your pet is if you get the information, right? So that's why this year I have really put a lot of focus on Patreon, and I really hope to see you over there. So let's continue with these things that us humans are doing while we're walking our dogs that we should absolutely not be doing. So the very first one is we need to let our dogs sniff. The second thing is, and this is a kind of a long one because you can find this in many different forms if you search for it, but I was really just trying to go off of what I see people doing. The second one is that you need to stop ignoring your dog. So I can't tell you how many times a day I see people walking their dog and literally their face is in their phone. Like they're like that. They have the leash like this and their phone like this. Oh my goodness. Or maybe they have headphones in. Now, I will say, and I even see women doing this. As a female, I am much more like, I need to be very, very, very focused on like everything going on around me. And while I would love to go, take a stroll and listen to a podcast while I'm doing it, I just, there's too much going on, especially if I'm by myself, right? There's too much going on I need to be paying attention to. I don't know how so many people are walking around with headphones in their ears. I don't know. But anyway, they either have their phone in front of them, they have headphones in, maybe they're talking on the phone, right? I don't know why we do this. Like, our phones don't look like this anymore, but they're talking on the phone, right? Maybe you have another person that you're walking with, you and your dog are walking with, and you're like so into the conversation you're having with this other person that you're just not paying attention to your dog, right? If you're on your phone like this, you are definitely not paying attention to your dog. If you have headphones in, you can't hear what's going on around you. These are issues, guys. So it makes me mad, and it also makes me really, really super sad because our dogs don't deserve this, right? They deserve so much better from us. So we need to be paying attention to our dog when we're walking with our dog. And there are a number of reasons for this. First, this is like some of the most precious bonding time that you're getting with your dog. While, a lot of times I sit back and think, I love the bonding time that I have with my dog when we're sitting on the couch with just Netflix and chilling, right? For our dog, the most precious bonding time we have is that walk. Because your dog has to really put a lot of faith and trust in you. The social dynamics in a dog pack, in a wolf pack, right? Because dogs are descendants from wolves. That is a very much a bonding experience for our dogs. So we're wasting this bonding experience if we're not paying attention. And we don't want to take that for granted, right? We don't want to take our dog for granted. Also, we need to be aware, like I was just saying, we need to be aware of our surroundings for us and for our dog, right? So if you have your phone right in front of your face like this, you may not see that your dog is about to grab something that they shouldn't have in their mouth, potentially something dangerous, right? Or, there's an antifreeze leak from the car you're getting ready to walk by and you don't want your dog to lick that up, right? Or there's a dead skunk and you don't want your dog to grab a hold of that dead skunk. I mean, goodness, right? Or maybe there's some stranger or some off-leash dog like running right towards you and you don't even notice. You don't hear it because you have your headphones in, or you don't notice because you have your phone right in front of you. Like, there are so many things that we need to be paying attention to. We need to stay on top of these things. So, and I'm not saying that like you could prevent all of these things from happening, but we can intervene appropriately if we're paying attention. So that's really the second thing that us humans are doing, that we really need to stop doing when we're walking our dogs. And let me tell, like I said, I would love to just go out on a nice long walk and have my headphones in and listen to my favorite podcast. But there's just too much going on that I need to be paying attention to. I don't feel like that is the safest thing to do, whether I'm by myself or if I'm with my dog. And if I'm with my dog, I definitely need to be like in the moment with my dog. So the third thing that I wanted to bring up for you guys that us humans are doing while we're walking our dogs that we should absolutely not be doing, is attaching a leash to a collar. And also, we don't want to use the wrong types of collars. So I know I have talked about this over and over and over and over and over, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, right? But until people stop doing it, I feel like I have to keep saying it. We do not want to use e-collars or electric collars. We don't want to be using prong collars or choke collars or anything that is negative reinforcement, right? So anything that is causing pain or fear for your dog. And there are collars out there that like vibrate. I mean, that has to scare the crap out of your dog, right? Especially the first time it happens. And there are collars out there that like spray things up in your dog's face. We don't want to use any of these things. These forms of training actually have like no basis whatsoever in science, and other than, here's the thing, when you use these types of training devices, you may see a change in your dog's behavior. However, what you're seeing, and I've talked about this so many times, is a suppression of symptoms. And what ultimately happens when we suppress symptoms is that they come back and they come back and they come back with a vengeance, right? And what you're ultimately doing is, at some point down the road, we don't know when, there could potentially be a violent backlash. And I don't want to be too like graphic about it, but if you think about if you were at war, right? And you were captured and by the enemy and you were being tortured, right? What are you doing that entire time? Your sole focus is on survival and figuring any way you can to get out, any way you can to avoid any more pain. And that is what our dog is doing when somebody is using fear and pain, right, to train them. They're just getting smarter, right, about it. These symptoms are going to come out some way, somehow. They have to. Like, that's nature. So why fight against nature? That just seems like, I put a quote in a Patreon post I did, I want to say last week, and I believe it was Abraham Lincoln who said that violence begins where knowledge ends. And that is exactly how I think of these training devices, is that, people or trainers who decide that a dog needs these training devices, it's only because their knowledge is limited and they don't know what else to do. And there is so much more knowledge out there, guys. There's actually Positive reinforcement is scientifically based, and it works with our dogs naturally. So instead of fighting against nature, we're working with nature. Anyway, I think I've talked about that a little bit too much. But also really any form of any type of collar. And I'm not saying don't put a collar on your dog, right? Like, collars are great for accessories and fashion, and some dogs really love their collars. They're also good if you want like identification tags on them. Great, that's wonderful. But don't attach a leash to a collar. Yeah, you're, even if you don't have a strong puller, or you don't have a puller at all, but especially if you do, there is just so much potential for damage to the neck, to the trachea, to the esophagus, to the veins and arteries and the nerves in the neck, the spine. There's just so much trauma to be had when there is pressure applied to the neck. I know I don't want pressure applied to my neck. I don't apply pressure to Kim's neck. I don't know if you can see her. She's, let me see if I can get her in the picture. She's over here sleeping the day away while we're over here talking. So yeah, I just don't ever recommend attaching a leash to a collar. And there are a lot of people out there who say you have to attach a leash to a collar if you have a strong puller. No, actually, that is the worst thing you can do. What I like to do instead is use a harness with a front attachment. I don't even like to use those halty collars, or the, what do they call it? Gentle leaders. There's just too much potential for damaging the neck and anything inside the neck. And now you're not putting, with the gentle leaders, you're not putting the pressure on the neck exactly, but on the muzzle. But that's pulling, right? That's pulling. So I think there's still a lot of damage to be had in the spinal column, especially. So I don't like that. I like the front attached harness. So that is the third thing. So I don't want today's video to go too terribly long. I will talk really briefly about what a good walk should look like. Let me take a little sip of water, and if you have any questions so far, go ahead and post them in the chat. Oh, I'm just feeling super dehydrated this morning, and actually my plan is, as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to give you guys a quick update with me and YouTube, so definitely stick around for that, as well as Patreon, of course. I already mentioned Patreon, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more. So, okay, so what should, these are things that I'm telling you guys don't do, right? And I never like to say don't do this without doing this, because, well, I mean, really anything in life. In fact, so I have too many things I want to say. So as a dog trainer, I know that the best way to train a dog not to do something is to train them to do something else instead. And so when I approach teaching you guys, like here on YouTube, right, I know that while I need to explain, because we're humans, why we should not be doing something, I need to also replace that with what we should be doing. So we're going to talk about that. But I was also, my husband tells me this all the time. So he has 2 grown children, and his daughter has 3 children of her own. And of course, I don't have any children of my own, but he tells me all the time, like things that he did as he was raising his kids. And it is important when you're raising your kids, like you see, and we see it all the time, and it frustrates him so much, people telling their kids to stop doing something, or no, don't do that, right? And it's just like a constant over and over and over, no, stop, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But what people are lacking, and the reason that your kid keeps doing it, is because you're not giving them an alternative, right? So instead of just saying, no, don't do this, you can't do this, this is what you should be doing instead. This is what you can be doing instead. If you still choose to do this, then X will happen, right? So it's all very, very similar. So those are all the things that I was thinking of that I wanted to get out at like one time for you guys. But so okay, I just wanted to check in and see who's here. Let me know. Post in the chat. Let me know if you're here. Let me know about you and your dogs. I know Jennifer's here. Thank you so much. So what should walks look like? First of all, our walks with our dogs, while yes, we can do the same thing more than once, they shouldn't all look exactly the same, right? Of course, there's always going to be that one path that you gravitate towards, right? That one loop around the neighborhood or whatever it may be that you kind of gravitate towards, but we should make an effort that our walks should vary and be different. And this is how our dogs are really going to thrive, really, really thrive in their walks, right? So we should, all of our walks with our dogs should be a mix of fun, training, sniffing, exercise, and changing the environment. So let's make an effort. My husband's about to walk in the door, so I'm just warning you in case there's any loud noises. An effort that we want to change the environments, change the path, maybe go to the beach or a park or some hiking trail and make things, different for our dogs. And we just don't want to keep it boring, right? And it's also important that we do integrate some training into our walks, but that doesn't mean that the entire walk has to be like completely structured and our dog is not ever allowed to sniff and we don't want that, right? We want to vary it. And I actually think that keeping the majority of the walk fun for your dog and then just sprinkling in some training along the way makes such a huge difference. I think even better than just like dedicated, we're training for the next 15 minutes, right? No, let's keep training as part of our everyday routine and interject it when it's appropriate during our routines, like our walks. And I've actually been doing this a lot more with Kim lately on our walks, and she is so incredibly focused on me now when we are doing our walks. And when she's focused on me, that's wonderful, and I reward it. And then when she lets her hair down, right, and starts sniffing, I reward that too, because that's so important for her. I want her to pay attention to me, and I also want her to be enjoying her environment. So there's a healthy balance to be achieved there, right? I like that. And I also think it can be important to take, in areas where you are safely away from other dogs, take toys and maybe even take their food, right? Their dinner for the day, and maybe go to the park down the street, as long as you're, away from other dogs that aren't going to intervene, and play and have your dinner there, right? That would be so fun for your dog. And so such a wonderful change of environment, and doing things that they normally do in different environments is so important for our dogs. And I did mention on Patreon, and I want to end with this, always make sure you have plenty of water for yourself and your dog, no matter where you go. So that is pretty much the meat of today's video. I do want to just give you guys, just do a little bit of housekeeping, right? And keep you guys updated on what's going on. We are going to be moving in just a little over a month. And, but before that, I'm actually going to be going out of town to go to my sister's wedding, which I'm very excited about because I haven't seen most of my family in like almost 2 years. So I'm going to get to see my family, which is wonderful. But we're going to be traveling. So next Sunday, I'm not going to be doing a live. I have a video scheduled, so you will still get a video from me, and it's actually going to be a super fun video. So make sure, if you're not already subscribed, if you look down there at that subscribe button, if you're not subscribed, it'll be red. Click it and turn it gray, and then click the bell and select all notifications. I always post videos just published content on YouTube on Wednesdays, so you don't want to miss that. But also, next Sunday, you're going to get another published video, and it's actually like one of the most fun videos for me that I've done in a while, and I really, really hope you enjoy it. So I want to make sure that you guys are there, you're getting it, and you love it too. So make sure when that video comes out, you do watch it and like it and comment on it and let me know what your favorite part was. Also, let's see, anything else? Oh, Patreon. So I did have a Patreon bonus on today's content, and it is a very, I mean, to me, so incredibly interesting. But again, you need to be a Patreon supporter to get all of this exclusive content, and I do hope to see you over there. There are 4 different tiers to choose from, so I know you're going to find the one that is going to work the best for you and your pets. Yeah, so head on over to Patreon, get the bonus content that is really tied in, like, it's so incredibly interesting and very tied into today's topic about walking with our dogs and how we could be making some very unfortunate mistakes with walking our dogs. And yeah, so Jennifer, I know you got that information this morning, and thank you so much for being here today. Again, don't forget that next Sunday I will not be going live. I have a video that is scheduled to post to YouTube for you, so I'm still going to be here for you. I'm just not going to be live. And as always, if you have any questions, make sure to post them in the chat, or if you're watching a repeat of this, post in the comments below. Check out all of the links as well in my link tree. My link tree is linked in the description. So is Patreon. Patreon is the first link, and then you get my link tree. So you can, in my link tree, there's links to the free beginner dog training series, which is like 19 videos to help you and your dog begin training. I love the beginner dog training series. I think it's excellent, and it's absolutely free to you. So check that link. It's in my link tree. My ebook, which breaks down all of the 7 canine commandments, which are the fundamentals that I start all of my training clients off with. I definitely want you to get your hands on that. It is very, very inexpensive. And that is also in my link tree. Also, if you just need more, I have online video training, dog training for you as well. It is all positive reinforcement based. Much of it is me training other dogs in their homes. So I definitely recommend you checking that out if you really need some extra help with your dog. That is also in my link tree, as well as links to my other social media. So make sure you're following me everywhere. Hello, JR. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Great session today, he says. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this. We're almost at 30 minutes, and that's where I like to leave you guys, because I don't want to drone on and make this too terribly long. It is Sunday. Get back to whatever you're doing, finishing up your weekend. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. Don't forget to check out the Patreon bonus content. This is the very first link in the description to go to my Patreon, or you can just go to patreon.com and search Jessica Fisher, which is my name. And I can't wait to see you over there. Thank you so much again for being here with me on this Sunday, and I will see you guys. Well, I'll see you in my published videos, and then we'll go live again in 2 weeks. See you later, guys. Bye. Have a great weekend.